Hi, let's talk about something really cool today. Let's talk about smoke, and we will see how we link it to the talk we have done on central dogma of molecular biology. So, what happens when you smoke? When you smoke, you inhale a lot of compounds, carbon monoxide, reactive oxygen species, aromatic compounds. But for today's talk, the most important is nicotine. It is important because it is a psychoactive drug, and it's also addictive. What does it mean? It is addictive. It means that your brain will do everything it can to maintain a steady concentration of nicotine in your system, in your blood, in your surrounding. Okay, so it will do everything. It's important. But how do we link? We link it to the central dogma of molecular biology. Bear with me. So you inhale these compounds, and let's focus on the nicotine. We said. Let's ignore that these other compounds just for a moment. And the nicotine goes into your mouth, it goes into your trachea, your larynx, your lungs. In the end, it ends on your lungs. These are happy lungs because they are from a non-smoker, but let's imagine that they are full of nicotine. So this is a microscopic image of a lung. It's like a sponge, and you have your nicotine that is bouncing around, and it goes away. It goes away from the lungs eventually. And it enters your veins, your arteries, and eventually it ends up on the brain. But instead of going away from your lungs, your nicotine bouncing around can also enter inside one of these lung cells. These are the cells that makes your lungs. And what happens at this point? At this point, you have your nicotine. Nicotine is a molecule, it's a small molecule. The nicotine is inside the cell, the cytoplasm of this cell, and it encounters this. This is a protein. Okay? This is the way we are approaching our link to the central dogma of molecular biology. Bear with me. This is a specific protein. It's called cytochrome P450-2A6. It's not important. It doesn't matter what his name is, and also the structure is just for aesthetic purpose. But it's important what the work of this protein is. What this protein does is that, like a Pac-Man, it looks like a Pac-Man. It eats nicotine. It metabolizes nicotine. In a way that after that nicotine is metabolized by this cytochrome P450-2A6, nicotine it is not more effective on the brain. Okay, so why this is important? Why is this important? Or better, how do we link it to the central dogma of molecular biology? We link it because this is a protein, and the central dogma says that information goes from DNA to RNA to protein. So all of these amino acids, all these ribbons here, these amino acids in a structure of long strand, are derived from an RNA sequence that is derived from a DNA sequence. So your DNA contains a sequence that makes an RNA via the RNA polymerase II, and the RNA that is produced make a protein, this protein, via the nanomachine that is the ribosome. Now, what's really interesting is that there is not one only cytochrome P450-2A6 in our mondial population. It means that my cytochrome P450-2A6 is maybe different from yours, from your dad, from your cousin, from your friends. Maybe we have a different form of this protein. And how is it possible? The only way that this is possible, and we know it from the central dogma of molecular biology, is that our DNA sequence are different. So our difference in our DNA reflect on the difference on our mRNA that reflects on the difference on our cytochrome P450 2A6. Now, this is just trivial, it's not really interesting. Let's look at how this could be very, very interesting. It's interesting because not all the form of the cytochrome P450 2A6, mine, yours, this from your friends, not all are the same in the way that they metabolize nicotine. Some are slower, some are faster, some are just in the middle. Okay? And this is important because we have said that the brain will do everything to maintain a steady concentration of nicotine. So let's imagine we have a really fast, like a rabbit, really fast cytochrome P450 that as soon as it sees a nicotine, it goes like waku 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 waku, like Pac-Man, a really fast Pac-Man, and it grabs the nicotine and it metabolizes. It means that as soon these people smoke a cigarette, their cytochrome will fastly metabolize the nicotine, and their brain will go Achtung, 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 non-nicotine, another cigarette, and they will smoke another cigarette to raise their concentration of nicotine. But they smoke another cigarette, and fastly the nicotine is removed, and they smoke another cigarette, and nicotine is removed, and they smoke a lot of cigarettes because they metabolize really fast nicotine. So let's take another example. Medium metabolized. This is a Kitaino, it's wonderful, but by the way, a medium metabolizer will maintain their concentration of nicotine in their blood, in their lungs, in their brain a lot longer, because the nicotine is slower metabolized than this fast metabolizer. And the slow metabolizer then are the one that can smoke a cigarette at 9 a.m. in the morning, and then they are okay for the rest of the day, because their concentration of nicotine will remain steady for a long time. So I think that's wonderful. That's wonderful because it is a clear example of how our DNA material, of our genetic sequence will dictate how we shape how we are, because it shape how we smoke, how we feel about cigarettes, how we get cancer, because it has obvious implication in the cancer growth, in the cancer, in the probability of getting cancer. Because if you need to smoke a lot of cigarettes to satisfy your brain, of course you will smoke a lot of things that are cancerous and damaging for your system. So I think this is the one of the most beautiful example that came into my mind when I was thinking to something to show the importance of the central dogma. And this is all because some genetic difference into the DNA that reflects into difference into the RNA, that reflects into difference into protein, that reflects into difference into how we live and die. So this is all for today. This topic was so important, I decided to put for you some reference. These are wonderful. It's not my subject. I don't study these things, but I think it's really interesting. So if you want to read something about it, this is it. Let me know if this video was helpful, and see you later.